Environmental Natural Resource Commission meeting to order. Woohoo! And since
you couldn't use your take two.
Right.
Is that it? Okay, yeah.
Yes, I'm
Environmental
very
Commission
sad.
meeting, take one.
Yeah,
Got it.
I have that, and I was all excited to show you.
Okay, great.
So call to order, roll call. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And Keith Buttleman is absent.
Nope, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, you here? Yay!
Yes.
Hi. He's not on my screen. See? Hi, Keith. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you. Molly Miller here. Candace Okeson
here.
Ann Palzer. You're muted. Yeah, I see you though. And Ted Redmond.
Here.
Fantastic. And Sean Finwell's here. So everyone except for Joel, who is resigned. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Let's see. Has everybody gotten a chance to check it out?
Yes.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner, sorry, I have a dog. Commissioner Redmond moved to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
did you want to add the Tesla information to commissioner presentations? Or do you
Sure.
want to wait till next year or meeting? Year.
I think it'll just be a mention. Yeah. So yeah. If we could add 8A to commissioner presentation, just a quick mention of conversations with Tesla. All right, I'll have to ask for a new motion.
Newly moved.
And Ann, you're still muted, at least to me. But I see your mouth moving, so okay. So Commissioner Redmond moved the agenda newly as amended, and I believe I had a second through Ann. We can't hear you. I think you're muted. Oh, I still can't hear you.
No.
Oh, there she is. Okay. So I can do hand signals. So if you want to put up a 2, if you want a second, we can do that.
I'll second.
Oh, thank you. Officer Okeson seconded. All those in favor say aye or thumbs up.
Aye.
Hey.
Oh, look at you, Ted. Awesome. Any opposed? I have to scroll. Sorry, I don't see anybody opposed. Motion carries to approve the agenda as amended. Move to approval of the minutes from May 18th, 2020.
I have a question.
Yes.
I was not participating. I was listening to the whole thing the whole time and was not able to connect myself. So I was there, but not vocal. For what difference that makes? Probably no difference.
Actually, Ms. Finwell, can mean he's present for that?
Present but quiet.
Oh, you mean during the May meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Well, I think it was kind of a practice run for you then, since you weren't kind of participating and voting. I would say that you were not present.
Okay.
But I'll give you brownie points.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, does anybody else have anything for that day? All right, I need a motion.
Sure.
Commissioner Okeson moves to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Commissioner Redmond. Thank you. All those in favor say aye or
Aye.
thumbs up.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? This is difficult. Looks like the ayes have it because that's all I can see. All right, moving on down to unfinished business, environmental purchasing policy. Dun, dun, dun. Ms. Finwell, is that you?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the commission. So I am going to share a short presentation here with you, excuse me. So I will ask if you can see that.
Yep,
Okay.
I can.
Thank you. Sorry. There we are. Okay. So thank you, environmental commissioners. So tonight we will be discussing the environmental purchasing policy with you. So here's a history of our environmental purchasing policy. Back in 2009, the city of Maplewood adopted the energy efficiency and conservation strategy. And the strategy outlines several areas that the city could create more energy efficient city operations. And one of those was the adoption of an environmental purchasing policy. So the Green Team worked on that through 2010. And in 2011, the Green Team and the Environmental and Natural Resources Commission drafted that original environmental purchasing policy, which was approved by our city management team in April of 2011. So city purchasing has been under that environmental purchasing policy since that time. So it's been several years, and the Green Team has taken on the challenge of updating that policy because it was outdated and, well, actually it was pretty hard to read, and, you know, we have new employees, so, you know, we wanted to make sure to update that and then do some education and outreach. So in 2019, we worked with our sustainability intern who presented to you. Her name was Meg Hanish, and she did a great job in doing some research and background on that environmental purchasing policy and new policies that we should be reviewing. She did attend the Environmental and Natural Resources Commission meeting, and she did outline general updates and revisions that were proposed by the Green Team and the MPCA. And the ENR Commission, as you recall, reviewed that and gave some comment and feedback on that. So since that time, the Green Team has been working with various departments, getting their feedback, looking at the policy based on the, here are the changes. So here's what I will go over. What we have done is simplify the document, which is now more user-friendly. We removed challenging and ambiguous language and definitions. We removed non-purchasing strategies, such as, I recall there was something in there requiring that the city do vehicle sharing. So of course, that is a strategy to reduce emissions and increase our sustainability, but it does not have to do with purchasing. So those sorts of things were removed. We added a table of contents, and we created recommendations, we updated the policy based on recommendations from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. They looked at that because the city of Maplewood is a Green Step Cities participant. So they have technical advisors that will assist in these things. And they took a look at our policy, recommendations from the Green Team, the departments, and taking a look at the Green Step Cities best practices. So the statement of our policy requires that the city purchase goods and services that are energy efficient, have reduced toxicity, are beneficial to indoor air quality, conserve on water, have a high percentage of recycled content, minimize waste, are plant-based, are locally produced, consider the embodied energy, and take into account the life city staff and residents, minimize the city's contribution to global climate change, improve air quality, and protect the quality of ground and surface waters, and minimize the city's consumption of resources and energy. I'm going to stop sharing a moment because I couldn't see all your faces, so I wasn't sure I was up and running. So are there any questions at this time? And then I'll bring it back up again.
Nope. This is
Okay,
looking
thank you.
good.
You'll have to excuse me. My second Zoom meeting live, so I'm a little rusty here. Here we go again. So the scope of this policy applies to all city departments and employees, vendors, contractors, and grantees for all products and services provided to the city to the greatest extent practical.
Respond to a poll, that's probably how you respond.
Oh, no, I'm frozen. Boy, I apologize. My screen had froze, so I'm gonna try that again. Nope. I am going to pull that up again on a different document here.
You're doing great, Sean.
Am I?
I'm cheering you on. Yes, you are.
I just got off a little vacation, so I might still be on vacation mode here. All right. This is it.
Just so you're aware, if I forget that my mute is on, I'm muted because my puppy keeps squeaking toys and it's making me crazy. So,
See, these are fun times. So I'm sharing the screen again, and I'm assuming it's working. So with the environmental purchasing policy, there are some exceptions. So we do indicate where practical in several areas, knowing that it's not always possible to follow the policy, exactly. So we say whenever possible and compatible with local, state, and federal law, without reducing safety, quality, or effectiveness, where the product or service is available at a reasonable cost, and we came up with 30% price preference. So we'd be looking for some comments on that. And then in a reasonable period of time. So in the policy, I'm hoping you've had a chance to read through, which was included in your packet. It's pretty simplified and easy to read, I think, now. And we have these various policy references under these 8 general conditions: electronics, energy, fleet, green building, cleaning and management, landscaping and natural resource management, pollution prevention, recycled content products, and then water conservation. And so that's what we'd be looking for most of your comments on. But
I do have a quick question,
Yes.
Sean. Are the exceptions in here somewhere?
Well, you will note in the policy, in some circumstances, we say where practical. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was identifying that kind of opens it up to this exception that, we understand that in some cases, we might not be able to follow the policy to the T. So it's
Sure. I
definition.
liked that slide.
Yeah.
So that kept it clear. So I was just wondering if it was in here and I just missed it. Thank you.
Just under the definitions.
Okay, perfect.
And then the roles. So here's something that we really want to look at closely. Previously, we adopted the policy, and then it the green team over the years did some education and outreach to our fellow employees, but it was never really taken on as kind of something from our management team on down. So we want to make sure that now we have clear expectations of the rules and who's looking at the policy and enforcing the policy. So we decided that the environmental planner, whoever that may be, right now it's me, and the green team, who is a group of individuals, one from each department, who help the city create more sustainable city operations that will serve as the steering committee for this policy. And then the steering committee will update the city manager and department heads from time to time on the policy. You know, we didn't want to have a detailed yearly this or that. So this allows us to, you know, be a little bit flexible in the timing and so forth. The city manager and department heads have weekly meetings, you know, that we could attend to update them on this policy. So what we would do is give them a status of the policy's implementation, informal data on purchases and environmentally preferable products, financial implications of the policy, if there are any, overall accomplishments and challenges, and then recommendations for the future. And then again, outlining clear responsibilities. So here we will request that each department head, they would have the responsibility of ensuring adoption within his or her department and report on any issues to the steering committee. So, you know, we have several departments in the city of Maplewood, and we're all kind of working together for the citizens, but at the same time, you know, you tend to be in your separate silos. So you want to make sure that the information is coming from the city manager to the department heads, you know, down to the employees who are actually doing the purchasing. We think that it's a great idea to do training during the annual supervisory training that they do to ensure that the supervisors, in addition to the department heads, are, you know, monitoring and ensuring that we're purchasing in this manner. And then successful bidders shall certify in writing that the environmental attributes claimed in formal competitive bids are accurate. And then we will give preference for local businesses to promote the businesses in Maplewood to provide environmentally preferable products and services. And then finally, I know the policy could go into a lot of in-depth detail. So I'm coming up with kind of a list of implementation strategies that we could look at once this policy is adopted that could help us strengthen the policy, improve on some of the strategies. One of those is coming up with a city operations purchasing committee. Now I know the green team will be the steering committee, but I think within each department there are, you know, one main purchaser that does like the big purchases, and then of course each employee, many employees have a city purchasing card, so they do, you know, the private purchasing for their area. But having this purchasing committee of the main purchasers in each department will help kind of monitor the trends and so forth, and make recommendations on, I don't know, here's where you can buy, you know, certified such and such. So I think that committee will be helpful. Integrated pest management guidelines for future purchasing decisions in our landscape and building, I guess, maintenance. Conducting a fleet study, which we have done in the past, but you know, updating that to make sure that we're right sizing our vehicles and to see which of those vehicles could possibly be converted to electric. And then creating a financing mechanism for funding future city operations sustainability projects. And this is something that actually comes from the Environmental Commission last year as one of your goals. And we were never successfully able to kind of complete that due to time constraints and so forth. But that's something that we really should continue to look at is, so this policy and purchasing renewable energy, things of that sort that are actually saving the city money, taking those savings and reusing that investment into something that will improve on our sustainability as well. So I think that is the end of my presentation. So with that, I am open to questions. Thank you.
Sean, can you see everybody
I
on
can
your
now.
screen? Okay, because I can only see one person at a time, so you're gonna have to maybe call on people.
Sure. It looks like we are all up and running, except maybe Commissioner Palzer has fallen off. Oh no, there you are.
I'm trying, instead of the computer audio, I'm trying my phone audio. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Madam Chair.
Ooh, I
Oh,
can
what'd you
see.
say?
Popped in.
I
As
have
I
a few
popped-
questions or comments whenever you may want to be looking for those.
Yeah, Commissioner Redmond.
Great, thank you. I'll just do a couple and then share it, and then we can always come back to me. But first of all, thank you for putting this together, Sean, and the work that you guys have all done, because I think it's important. And a number of cities have done purchasing policies like this, and then it kind of falls by the wayside, and then nobody thinks to try to pick it up and do it again. And the policies are tough because trying to follow through with them is challenging. It is hard to find the right products, the right vendors. So kudos to you and to the city for doing this. I think it's important. I have a couple questions, potential comments. One is, did you guys talk about having specifically a green building purchase policy? So the idea that, I mean, although building a building or adding onto a building is a bit aside, but it seems like wherever we can reinforce some of our goals to be consistent does make some sense. So did you guys talk a little bit about just a simple, very brief statement about guiding green building purchasing, and that renovations, expansions, or building equipment that's purchased, which would then cover, you know, like HVAC equipment or whatever, that would pursue, you know, like LEED or IGCC plus energy efficiency goals or anything like that? Did you guys talk about that?
So we do have a green building code, which requires that all city-funded buildings and renovations and like utility improvements meet that green building code, which has, you know, increased energy efficiency requirements, looks at the overall site. So requiring that we recycle materials, things of that nature. And that was actually in our previous purchasing policy under green building. And then this policy, I was thinking, why would I put in an ordinance that we have under a policy? So it's certainly something that as an ordinance we are required to do.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
What my thinking was related more to certainly reinforces the idea of construction, but more importantly, the kind of it doesn't really fall into heavy construction, like the lower, lighter level maintenance sorts of things where equipment purchases might happen. Just addressing the policy of having green buildings and meeting energy efficiency requirements, so that, and again, I'm, you know, it may not function quite this way within the city, so it may not be needed, but I can envision, I've certainly seen where, you know, clients might purchase a piece of equipment that isn't really going through a significant construction process whatsoever. It's more of an equipment swap, and it's possible people they forget to make the same kind of decision process when it's more like an equipment swap instead of a construction effort.
Okay, so so under green building likely and maintenance, we would add some information on kind of those things that don't fall within the green building code requirement.
Right. Or repositioning that equipment that's purchased still needs to meet green building goals and energy efficiency goals, even if it's not a full construction project or renovation project.
Okay.
And
Very
again, you know, just a suggestion. I'm not as familiar with the inner workings of the city, so that may not be necessary. But just to kind of help guide if there are purchases that are done outside of a construction effort.
Okay.
And the second item that I've got is a question, which is, does the city have an equity policy at all related to social equity in terms of purchasing, or anything that would guide social equity in relation to environmental purchasing?
No, we do not.
So I just throw that out there that it might be worth exploring if there's an opportunity to sort of put an overarching goal or guidance at the front, which is environmental over non-environmental product as preferenced, but also social equity product over non-social equity product or supplier would be preferenced, kind of a thing. Just a thought.
Is that,
Yeah.
Now yield.
does that also include like local as opposed to?
Well, that was later down on my list. But I'll yield the floor for others.
Sean, one of the things we had talked on last year, but we never really came up with anything solid, is I was wondering if we had any conversations still about efficiency standards for homes, like new builds, because instead of, having people move in, like if we have the green building code, but do we have any efficiency standards at all? I know that Fresh Energy said that they would be very interested in helping push something like that with us if we wanted to pursue that. Uh-oh, hello?
Yes, we are here.
Hi. Sorry, my screen went black.
I know you're on your phone and it kind of jumps around on you.
Yeah.
So right now we're talking about city purchasing. So anything the city would purchase for its operations. And I think what you're referring to is for residential homes.
Well, anything, any buildings at all, having efficiency standards on the buildings. Is that it? I remember I had the book and there was only one copy of that book at one point, and I don't remember because I had to give it back.
That was a while ago since you reviewed that, so I'm a little rusty on.
Is that something we can just check on?
But now, when you say efficiency requirements, I will remind you that the city of Maplewood does, have this green building code. So
Right.
all new and all city-funded new construction and renovations have to meet this code, which there are efficiency standards.
Okay.
Could you explain further what you are referring to?
I don't have access to that anymore, and I was wondering if it would be possible to take a look at that again, because I don't remember. Basically, that's it. I don't remember because like I said, I had the book at one point and it was the book. So they wanted it back.
Can you remind me what book
Do
you're
you
referring to?
have
The green building code book.
Okay. The one that we adopted, Green
Yeah.
Construction Code?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Let me review that and we can talk offline and see
Okay.
what you were referring to.
Okay.
Okay.
one question that I had, if that's all right to jump in, is regarding, there's the potential that multiple departments would be looking at purchasing the same thing. Maybe it's dishes or servingware for an event, or reams of paper, staples, whatever, it might be. Is there internally some sort of list of approved or preferred items that, once you kind of do the legwork to figure out, okay, is this our better option? Is this our better option? Okay, we selected this one and why? So that becomes the preferred item, so that different departments aren't recreating the wheel or duplicating those research efforts. I didn't see anything referred to in the document, but perhaps that's like an internal database or list that you already have. I wasn't sure.
No, that's very insightful. So that implementation strategy of creating this purchasing committee, I thought that would be one of our first tasks, would be to do a list of approved or preferred products. So I should add a definition on what that means, preferred products, and then further define the committee's role of, that would be one of the first things that we should take on. Any other
Yeah,
suggestions
kind
on
of.
how we could accomplish that?
I guess one of the things that made me think of it was, in my workplace, our IT group, for example, has tested out multiple headsets, laptops, whatever item it might be, and those are the ones that are the default setting available on an intranet site, on our SharePoint site. We are able to research and find an alternative if we need to, but it is more like a special order versus using what's already been pre-selected for efficiency and cost and things like that. So SharePoint or like an intranet site, some sort of internal database, if there's something similar, within the city, that would be what I've seen work in our instance anyway.
Madam Chair and Commissioner Halser, correct, and it would certainly save a lot of time and effort for the purchasers as well.
Are you also looking at strategic timing for ordering, so it's all ordered at once, so it's not multiple orders?
Madam
So you can
Chair,
order in bulk instead of?
we will look at that, particularly for products used for employee events or events outside of the city, like compostable cups and plates, things like that. But we do not have a central purchasing kind of system. So it's all various departments purchasing when they need it. We do have central, like, copy paper purchasing. Only one department does that. So I think there's other items that we can kind of follow suit on, something similar, like the compostable ware.
Okay, so like when the implementation strategies where it says purchasing committee, would they be able to set up? I just know that, like, if everyone is ordering things separately, it's going to cost more than if it's purchased at a certain time and everyone is kind of bulk rate kind of a thing. Or
Right,
if you can,
I should add some kind of bullet points or goals of this purchasing committee to include items that we can bulk purchase,
right,
preferred purchasing.
right. I was just thinking this would be a good opportunity since you actually are going to have purchasers now.
Yeah, agreed.
I have a couple others if
Ooh, yeah,
someone else.
Commissioner
Okay.
Redmond.
Let's see, I've got three that I'll throw out here. One is I'm just wondering if you guys have talked about doing a climate-friendly local food purchasing component to this also. And I know the city doesn't, you're not a grocery store, but clearly there's food that gets purchased for events or what have you. And the idea of guiding purchases for food to be focused on local wherever possible and climate friendly wherever possible.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Redmond, I did see that as a best practice, and I considered adding it. I know our wellness committee was looking into, the items that we do sell, like in our vending machines, things of that nature, creating more healthy alternatives. But we just really do not purchase that much food, I guess, except for events. But that's certainly something that I should look at and add.
Yeah, and with some of all of my comments, you have to take with the perspective of I'm not familiar with what the city's actually buying, but I do assume that there is some that goes on. The second comment I have, or actually I guess it's the fourth now, is in the fleet section. I'm wondering if there was any conversation at all about, so I like that prioritize electric over gas-powered vehicles where practical, I think is a good statement. One thing that could make that even more powerful is to actually default, saying that vehicle and equipment purchases shall be electric or hybrid unless there's a specific case made why that can't happen in a given instance. You know, clearly there's equipment in public works that just there are no EVs that are currently suited for, you know, as an example. But by making it a default and then basically putting the onus back on, if we want an ICE vehicle, we need to illustrate why there is not a competitive, appropriate EV or hybrid selection. Just kind of it would strengthen that a bit.
Okay, I agree.
And then the last comment here I'll share right now is, and this might be a little muddy too, but sort of in the document's got really nice preamble. It illustrates, you know, purpose, what we're doing, and so forth. And similar to the equity thought, just wondering if it is worth, and maybe I've missed it, having an overall guidance which prefers local over distant. So you could have on paper two products that are, or two suppliers, two vendors that are equally green, but if one's shipping a global supply chain or they're coming out of Boston or whatever, versus somebody that's in Iowa and doesn't have a global supply chain, that automatically ratchets up the green attributes of it. And without doing full life cycle assessments on products, it is really hard to kind of figure out full supply chain. But just having a guiding statement that environmental over non-environmental, local environmental over non-local environmental, local non-environmental over non-environmental. So local is always a preference because at the very least we're hopefully reducing some of the
Transportation.
footprint. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a thought there.
A good one. Thank you.
Now, Sean, I see that you needed a motion for this. Is there an opportunity for all of these changes to be made before a motion, or do we need to do that now?
You know, I could, there's no hurry on this. I could make the changes and bring it back if you'd like.
Okay.
Or you could recommend approval with the additional items. But it sounds like there's a little research I should do first. But I really
Is there
appreciate
any
your
input
guidance.
from anybody? Oh, I was just gonna say, is there any input from anybody? Sorry, I got a phone call and it went over it. Sorry. Is there anybody that has any input, one way or the other?
Yeah, from my perspective, if there's not a deadline or a time rush, it makes sense to maybe make those changes and take a look at it again. I think it was a year ago that we looked at this previously, so you know, maybe not that long of a delay in between steps, but adding those few extra things, and we can take another look soon.
Madam Chair and Commissioner Pauser, so correct. Last year, I think when Meg Hanisch brought it before you, we brought the old policy and just kind of said, hey, what are your thoughts on new changes? And then, so it took some time to do all that research. And but yeah, these changes I can turn around in the next month. And I really want to ensure that the Environmental Commission supports this, because I think that's the key to kind of building this support for, you know, management and City Council as well. I'm not sure this will go to City Council or it needs to, But it is one of our Green Step Cities best practice requirements, so it helps us achieve our Step 5 status.
Well, and I also believe that this would qualify as one of our big goals. And if it isn't, it should be, is to support this. That's my opinion. Does anybody else have any?
Madam
Just
Chair,
because it would. Yes.
I think you're right on that point, and getting some of these ideas incorporated into a draft is going to be a very good step. So I think that Sean's suggestion makes a lot of sense on how we proceed with this.
Thank you, Commissioner Buttleman. Let's see, is there anybody else that has any comments? I can only see one person at a time. So.
It looks
I'm
like
hoping.
there are no comments to be had. Madam Chair.
Okay, fantastic. So would it be fair to make a motion to support you, or should we just have you do the research and talk about it next month? I want to make sure that we're not dropping the ball for you. I want you to be able to, this is really important because this is kind of everything that we do. You're going to be implementing. So I think that this is really, or everything that we're pushing for. So I want to make sure that we're not slowing you down.
So at this time, I will consider this, I will take your feedback and make these changes and bring it back to you during the August meeting for your final review. So no motion is needed at this time. So thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Ms. Finwell. You are, as always, amazing.
Here, here.
All right, so I'm going to move along to new business, resolution for appreciation for Joe Gould. I'm going to open it up. I'm sorry, you're going to just have to blurt because I cannot see everyone.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. When citizen members end their time of service on a board or commission, the city considers adoption of a resolution of appreciation, recognizing the individual for their time committed serving Maplewood. Joel Gould resigned as a member of the Environmental and Natural Resources Commission on June 15th, 2020. Mr. Gould served on the commission for 1 year and 1 month from May 25th, 2019 to June 15, 2020. So tonight we are looking for a motion to approve a resolution of appreciation for Joel Gould and his service on the commission. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Okeson, a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Chad seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I need to show up to a city council thing for that?
Oh, that always done it.
I know usually we do.
So
Really?
that will be scheduled for the July 27th commission meeting at 7, city council meeting at 7 p.m. I'll send you details in the event that you are available, but it will be on, I think, the consent agenda. And, you know, things are kind of operating differently under our COVID shutdown, so I'm not sure that there would be an opportunity to speak.
Okay.
But I will.
Well, however, I can be there and you can guide me.
Okay.
Whatever you need.
Tell you in regards to that tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next is Maplewood Nature Center Task Force. Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. So our next item is the Maplewood Nature Center Task Force. I will do a brief introduction, and then I would like to note that Ann Hutchinson, a lead naturalist with the Nature Center, is attending our meeting tonight, and it would be great to hear from her as well. So thank you for attending, Ann. So beginning March 13th of 2020, all in-person programs and services offered by the Nature Center and Parks and Recreation were closed due to COVID-19 concerns. Due to forecasted budgetary impacts for 2020 and 2021 and programming revenue loss, the decision was made in June of 2020 to close the Nature Center and Parks and Recreation programs and lay off staff in these areas. On June 22nd of this year, the City Council did direct staff to develop task forces to identify a new model of service for the Nature Center and Parks and Recreation. The goal of those task forces were to review existing programs, services, operating budgets, and programming alternatives, and identify possible funding partners to help pay for amenities with a regional focus. On July 14th, then, at this last City Council meeting, the City Council adopted a resolution for the formation of task forces to review and make recommendations for changes to Nature Center and Parks and Recreation programming. And I wanted to share with you the details of that task force. Oops. Boy. Are you seeing Nature Center Task Force on your screen?
Yes.
we are.
Okay, excellent. So again, the goal of this task force will be to determine how to reopen the Nature Center and programming to serve the region in a financially sustainable way without reliance on neighborhood property tax support, is how the resolution has read. The review process of this task force will be to engage in systematic review of current operations, evaluate future programming possibilities, and establish key partnerships. The membership will be one City Council member, and during that July 14th City Council meeting, the City Council did appoint Councilmember Juniman to that task force for the Nature Center. 2 members of the Friends of Maplewood Nature Group, 1 to 2 volunteers of the Nature Center, 1 Environmental and Natural Resources Commissioner, 2 representatives from local government or profit partners, 1 to 2 representatives from schools, and 2 staff members. And it was determined that City Manager Coleman and Parks and Recreation Manager Robbins, who was the department head for the Nature Center, will be attending the task force. So the appointments and applications, tonight we are looking for 1 Environmental and Natural Resources Commissioner to be appointed. And then keep in mind all others members if you are interested, and then of course interested parties in those other groups can apply online. And that application will be available in the next week or so. It will include a series of questions, and it sounds like the City Council will then appoint those task force members based on the answers to those questions. However, the exact process is not in place, but that should be up and run. The application should be available within the next week or so. The timeline for this task force and the recommendations, currently it's estimated that there'll be 6 meetings. There'll be 2.5 hours per meeting. They hope to meet every 3 weeks, beginning possibly as early as mid-August. However, that's to be determined. The process will include a community survey. After recommendations are in place, there'll be resident input, well, before and after. And then with hopes to have the preliminary recommendations from the task force by October of 2020, and a final report to be reviewed by the City Council in December. So tonight we're looking for a motion to appoint 1 Environmental and Natural Resources Commissioner to serve on the Nature Center Task Force. So perhaps, Madam Chair, it would be prudent maybe to hear from our lead naturalist, Ann Hutchinson, who might be able to give us some insight or into, the closing of the nature center and kind of moving forward with this task force. So thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi,
What's your official
Ann.
title? Steph. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about it. This is, I can tell you about if you have any questions about specific nature center programs, or talk about what our current budget is or something like that. But as far as the actual task force, that's all being done at a senior management level. So.
Is there anyone who is on the commission here who is interested in being on this task force?
I have a question. Could you explain a little bit more about, so our commission gets one representative on the task force, and the information, Sean, that you shared and that was in our packet indicated that we could apply as residents, but it doesn't have, the task force membership list doesn't have specifically a Maplewood resident. Would the application as a resident mean that we would need to be already involved in the Friends of Maplewood Nature Group or a volunteer of the Nature Center? Those are the resident positions that I could see from that list, or is there like a member at large, resident at large seat that's not on that list?
Thank you for Madam Chair and Commissioner Palzer. Thanks for kind of pointing that out, that unless you're on the Friends group, there's not really a resident portion. But so some of this feedback I will forward. Well, I will forward all of this feedback on to our city manager, kind of for review. They might want to monitor and adjust the membership, but I would assume that as a environmental commissioner, you're also a volunteer of the Nature Center, as one of your goals in the Environmental Natural Resources Ordinance is actually to support the Nature Center. And so perhaps it's under that, heading. But I like your thought about resident at large.
Yeah, and just imagining that the members of our commission have a lot of opinions on this and a lot of desire to make our voice heard on it. One thing that doesn't particularly sit well with me, for example, is the directive that nature programming cannot be funded or subsidized by property tax. Like, there are many expenses of the city which are very important that are funded by property taxes. And in my opinion, it devalues the nature programming, environmental education programming, to say that that's not worthy of property tax support. So I imagine that, other members of the commission also have a lot of opinions. We can funnel that through our representative to that task force. But it seems to make sense that, this is a relatively small task force for a pretty big overhaul from, I had watched the, playback of the council meeting, and they're talking about kind of pie in the sky plans of partnering, with other organizations and aligning with this and that and the other thing. So it just seems like a pretty big undertaking to not maybe have a lot of other survey and input feedback from, just one representative from a school. It's a very large school district, Maplewood, North St. Paul, and Oakdale, that utilize the Nature Center programming right now. I would guess that we maybe have other school districts that have attended programs in the past. That seems like a very small representation of the education community. There's no community education members. I'm assuming maybe they're just talking about schools, from early child or from elementary school through high school. But we have Century College right in our neighborhood as well. So just it just seems like they're thinking really big, but this membership of the task force to me seems small. Though I also understand productive meetings are difficult to have if you have a large attendance. So I'm not sure what the agenda for each of the meetings would be. Perhaps there are ways to bring in feedback on specific topics as they go. But I would encourage maybe adding a couple of slots, maybe resident at large, for example, or maybe there's one meeting focused on community partners where you have guest speakers come in, even if they're not task force members. I would encourage kind of the breadth of that to be larger than it seems to be based on this task force membership. It wasn't too long ago that there was the previous task force where there was the outside consultancy, the firm that came in and did a lot of surveys and stakeholder meetings and things like that. And I think that reaches a lot further than the membership list of this task force, in my opinion. So I would hope that the research gathered in those previous meetings would kind of feed into some of the task force work and discussions as well. I would have more to say, but I just wanted to kind of make that comment as far as the task force membership for now.
Sorry, I have a barky dog.
Yeah, thank you. And that I do recall you being on the stakeholder meetings for the master plan for the Nature Center in 2018 and into 2019. And then in August of 2019, the master plan was approved by the council. So you are remembering that correctly.
Okay.
Madam Chair, so of course this is a very difficult subject as we have lost some key staff and friends who mean a lot to us and support us in our environmental stewardship, environmental education. And these decisions are very difficult, budget driven. So I am hopeful that we do have one environmental commissioner as identified now that could commit to this task force and bring back information to our full commission and share that information and then bring the feedback from the full commission back to the task force, as it will, continue on for a few months here.
Well, and I also wanted to point out that with this time of COVID, having outdoor spaces for social emotional wellness is so important right now. It's almost more valuable than money. And I think it's going to be more important than we're even aware of right now, because I mean, all the kids and all of the families that are stuck inside, this is going to be such an important place. So does that sound like something that you wanted? It sounds like you're already kind of a part of that. Is that something that you would be interested in, Anne?
Yeah, so I participated in the other task force. At that time, I was just in one meeting, and then we kind of followed it as a commission. And I would be willing to volunteer on the task force. I wanted to make sure that other people had the opportunity to do that. Regardless, I would want to have an opportunity for feedback and to kind of get reports back to our commission as far as what discussions have been happening and to see if there's any insight that we can provide. I'm a little bit hesitant to volunteer outright as well, just because I don't know what the fall holds for school. That, between full-time work and kids in distance learning, it was a really challenging spring. And so a number of meetings that are almost 3 hours each is a little bit daunting at this time. But I want to make sure that we do have someone on the commission, or on the task force. So if no one else is able to do it, I would definitely do that. And you can count on me asking you guys a lot of questions along the way.
Yay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying yay because I get you. I'm on, I work for the school and I have 2 kids, so it's gonna be crazy. Is there anybody
Madam
else
Chair?
who might have an interest?
This is a very important topic, and actually everything Anya were saying, I was nodding along. I mean, it actually feels a little disappointing. I mean, I understand the complexity of issues that happen in any organization, but it is a little disappointing that it isn't focused on funding broadly and not narrowing it to must be outside of city funds, because that feels defeatist, and I don't really quite understand that focus, but that's commentary. And so I'm certainly very happy to support in whatever way I can. I am a little over busy right now, but you can put me in the category of if I can help out, I'm happy to help out, or if you want a tag team or something, or if you guys said, yeah, you got to do it, then I'll go do it, because it is important and I'm supportive of it. So you can put me on the list of willing hearts, but crumpled schedule.
My schedule's completely open. I can go. I can do it.
Go, Leia.
This is a problem to have. Yeah, this is a good problem to have.
And I'm tired of getting incidents and being upset that the nature center closed. So I would like to fix it.
Hi. Sorry. I came outside thinking it was going to be more quiet. Sorry. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
always-
ma'am.
You could always appoint 2 people and, so you could have alternate.
I was going to say, could we have alternate or rotating?
Mhm.
Yes.
So-
I think that would
so
be
maybe I would-
phenomenal.
Is this a motion kind of thing? I would maybe make a motion. I guess before I do that, wanted to make sure that we heard from Commissioner Buttleman to see if he was interested as well.
I'm very interested in the whole concept of what's going on here. I do feel a little bit reluctant because I represent where I live is about as far away from the main need area as I think you can get in the city.
Where do you live?
Down in the southernmost strip of the city, closer to Woodbury, closer to the
Like you're near Newport?
I can see Newport just down the road. Yeah, and I'm not sure that I would be able to represent the city as well as it needs. But I'm definitely strongly in favor of maintaining this kind of approach to on behalf of the city. So you could count on me for maybe a special interest at one time or another, but probably not on a regular basis.
Thank you. So in light of that, I would suggest that we make Commissioner Okeson our designated representative. I would be happy to be a backup to that. I don't know if we need a motion. I guess maybe I'll make a motion that Commissioner Okeson be our designated representative with myself as a background or backup.
Okay, and since she has already expressed her willingness and excitement to be in it, I can tell you're excited. Your hair almost went straight. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and so it looks like all of those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed to this out of the box idea, which is phenomenal to get us more involved? I think that passes. Okeson, you're the one. You're still the one. Sorry. And Miss Palzer, oh jeez, is the backup. There isn't a place. There is not a place that's quiet. I'm so sorry. Ugh. Silas
Well, thank you,
learned how to
Madam
ride his bike
Chair,
today.
for that, and for the appointment and all that feedback, which I will share with our city manager. And I wanted to thank Ann Hutchinson for attending our meeting tonight. So Ann, right now, since we have her before us, maybe she could speak to the Nature Center closing and kind of what is happening. The grounds are open and
Sure.
programming.
Yeah, thanks. So right now, I will be on board through the end of September, and I'm personally I'm doing some of the city gardening, rain gardening work, because the regular rain garden or gardeners were not hired this year. So backing up the city a little bit for that. And basically we're not, so the building is closed and has been since March. We did a number of virtual programs and videos. Perhaps you've seen some of them on the Nature Center Facebook pages. So if you go to Facebook, Maplewood Nature Center, you'll see a number of live animal videos, and there's a really neat little pollinator, 5 tips for preserving pollinators that Oakley Bee Science did. And we also handed out a curbside activity kit for pond studies, which was just a little drawstring backpack with a couple nets and a couple magnifying boxers and then a couple of keys. And then Oakley did a really great video with our communications department on how to use it, but also explaining what kinds of things you might catch. So that's kind of cool. We had quite a bit of interest in that. And we just did, like the schools do, you drive up and pick up your kit, and everyone was socially distant, wearing masks and that kind of thing. I am hoping to do at least one more set of curbside kits, but waiting for approval on that one. The trails are open, and the city is committed to keeping the trails open and the grounds maintained. So the boardwalk is available, everybody, it's all open for walking and, having your place to go get out in nature. So that's still there. That's not going away. And we are, our staff, I just do want to say a thank you to our staff, Oakley Bee Science, Carol Gurnis, Karen Wackel. They were, just really incredible employees. And, I think cumulatively they put in, I don't know, Carol was here 19 years. Oakley's been here 18 years. Karen was here 13 years. So a lot of years they put into the city and the Nature Center, a lot of program materials developed and maintained and whatnot. So, but I am also helping kind of close up the Nature Center. Just the classroom materials and everything's put on hold until they see what they do with the task force and see what comes up with it. So I'm just sort of packing things away, like you're going to be shut down for a little while. So I have decommissioned the animal cages and returned the animals and given them to different people, and just kind of making sure everything's put away and battened down till we see what happens with things. And then I'm still helping with Sean and Emily with the natural resources things. I'm helping out Parks and Recreation. They might do another online virtual thing that's nature related, and so on and so forth. So, and then I am still trying to help maintain the gardens as much as possible, along with Parks and Recreation, along with the Parks maintenance crew. So, yeah. But yeah, we miss our very dedicated staff. Oakley was the volunteer coordinator and also the community garden manager. So the one program that's still really running is the Edgerton Community Garden. And that's all the plots. I think 70 plots have all been rented out and people are gardening. There is somebody using the ADA garden bed, so that's wonderful. So all those improvements that were made in the last couple of years are showing fruit, literally. And I'm doing that until I leave. I'm sort of taking over Oakley's management of the garden, and then I believe Emily or other people in Parks and Rec will continue to take that on. And Emily Dunlap is the new natural resources coordinator. Have you guys all met her? She came on board last year, and she is very interested in continuing on the citywide buckthorn removal program, which Carol Gurnis managed for all those years. And Carol had it all set up so run beautifully. So thanks to Carol, we are able to sort of plug into that all her previous documents. And so Brian Nagel, the streets foreman who's helped do the removals, has agreed to continue that this fall. So we will continue with the city buckthorn removal. So the community garden, the city buckthorn removal will continue on with help from the new natural resources coordinator and Parks and Rec and Brian Nagel with Public Works. So some of the other nature center program that was more school and preschool focused, we don't have our volunteer service groups, Century College, that kind of thing. And so maybe the task force will look at some of those areas and see, how those could be incorporated or not, depending on the direction they want to take. So our volunteers, we did have a meeting with our volunteers and have been communicating with them. And as you might expect, the relationships built are through staff, and some of them are deeply, deeply disappointed and hurt with what's going on, but others are willing to transfer over. So I'm continuing to communicate with volunteers and introduce them to Emily and to Sean and other people in the city. So.
And Anne, you have been with the city for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been here, it's going on 33 years this September. So the city was offering early retirement and I did accept early retirement. So it works out for me. It doesn't work out so well for my part-time staff, but we're not the only ones in light of the pandemic. There's a lot of stuff going on.
So our naturalists participated in the green team and helped the city of Maplewood maintain its Green Step City's best practices. Over the years, as the environmental planner, worked with our naturalists on a lot of different programs. We used to have what we called the junior green team, where we brought some programming to our day camp when the city of Maplewood operated the community center, and we deputized them as a junior green team. So we had a lot of fun there. Participating in the Waterfest events, of course, we always coordinated our booth, the Environmental Commission and the Nature Center booth. And
you guys did some fun stuff at the Waterfest booths, right? Yeah, but no Waterfest this year.
No fun this year. And then our seasons, which is our environmental newsletter, and we started the e-newsletter. We'll probably change. Hope to kind of carry that on, even though we don't have the same authors and kind of support. Maybe we branch out and work with environmental commissioners on occasion to do some.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna miss all of the staff who have become my friends, and of course all the great work that they did over the years. So I'm hopeful that this task force will, prove successful and we'll be able to open up the Nature Center again and its programming in the future. So thank you so much for all you do, Anne, and thank you for attending the commission meeting tonight.
Well, I thank you for inviting me, and I thank the commissioners for all of your work as well. It's been fun to get to know you, and hopefully I'm still around 2 more months. Maybe I'll come to the next couple of meetings.
Please do.
And then I
Please
know
do.
Molly in the schools, we'd run into Molly at the schools for doing our various educational programs. So that was always fun. So
Did you see our new gardens at Edgerton? The 10 gardens
no, where are
behind the
they?
shed? Well, this is part of the reason why I know that it's important is I have 8th graders showing up even to like all the way until today even, because they want to put their hands in soil because it makes them feel grounded and it helps them with ADHD and their anxiety with all of this stuff. I had 8th graders from Rams. We put up gardens 10 feet apart from each other behind the shed there.
Okay.
And, they've planted everything. Everything is growing and they wanted to be like their parents who are in the community garden and grow their own stuff. And so they
Nice.
are. And it's just,
Fantastic.
I hope that you can see how emotional this is for everybody on the commission because we all love you guys so much and you are what we're all working for is so you know like the programs that you provide, we all know the importance of that. And I know that when I found out about that, I got incredibly emotional about it. And so I'm probably not the best person for the task force because I will lose my mind. But everything that you've done, the guidance, and yes, the trails are still open, but when we brought our student council from Edgerton, we come every year. We brought our student council for
Bird watching.
okay, hold on. We brought them and it was okay. Social distancing. Okay. Sorry. It wasn't just the trails. It was, I mean, all of the feedback that we got from the kids was, oh my gosh, they know so much. Look at how I would have missed that if someone wouldn't have been with us. I would have missed hearing the calls of the birds, like it wasn't just the walk because you guys are such professionals and so knowledgeable about those birds, the animals there, their families, where they're going to be, where they're going to pop up possibly. And the kids rely on that because if they walked around by themselves, 9 times out of 10, they're going to miss it. So I just want you to know how much everyone that I know is just heartbroken and angry. And we're trying not to be angry. We're trying to come up with solutions. So I just hope you can feel all of the love right now for you guys.
Oh, thank you, Molly, for your kind words. That means a lot. It really does. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
We miss all the kids coming. I mean, it's just I really miss our junior volunteer program. Just yeah, that was one of our favorites.
Yeah. Yep.
But we'll just hope that better things will come in the future. So
well, we'll continue to throw, even though there's only 2 people that are going to be part of that team, that you're going to hear input from all of us because all of us have ideas and all of us are emotionally attached and rightfully so, because this is how you get through things like COVID. This is how you get through anxiety and depression is by having these sort of outlets where you reground yourself. So you really have all of us.
Thank you. And it's been amazing to see how many people have in March and April, boy, I could not believe how many people were coming out walking the trails, just walking the trails.
Good.
And we'd go out there and prepare for the videos and talk to people and just maintaining the trails. We'd go out there and see people and talk to them. And it was great to be able to talk to people. And I think they appreciated talking to us as well. But they really needed that place. They needed to come there. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the people in our area here, they don't have the Gateway Trail isn't as safe as you would like it to be. It's out of everybody's vision, and that's a safe place that kids can be and the families can be together and everything. It's just like having your own little nature reserve right in your backyard because that's where it is.
And our friends group, along with charitable gambling, put in 3 or 4 new benches, three new benches too. So, and they all have backs on them. So there's some good seating on the trails for all ages.
Right. Well, we'll do our best to make sure that it doesn't just trail off quietly, because none of us are really that way.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everything, everywhere, like coming to the schools. I mean, that is just the outreach that you've done. Like, I don't think we could have checked that box off of ourselves, like, without you guys, because you go to the schools, you go to the gardens, and you are a very good representation of our city. So I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna start getting lumped.
Let me get a handkerchief.
I know, right? I know Elijah came through.
We have one with a lot of nature stuff on it. I'll make sure you get one of those.
All right. Does anybody have any? I know, right? Does anybody else?
Nature Center hankies. We can wave them.
Yes, yes. They're handmade hankies. All right. I can't see anybody else. Does anybody else want to say anything?
Thank you so much for attending the meeting, Anne. We really appreciate it. And I think we're ready to move on to our
Next one.
visitor presentations, if you are, Madam Chair.
Fantastic. Do we have any visitors in the house? Y'all? Because I can't tell. Anybody? Nobody? Then I will move on to commissioner presentations, and that would be me, that I added at the beginning. And maybe this is something that the task force can grab a hold of. I've been talking to the advisors and marketing people at Tesla, because that is in Maplewood, and they are very environmentally minded. And they they were hoping to get somebody on our meeting tonight, but I don't think they were able to, because it was kind of short notice by the time I got them today. But they want to become partners with the city in a really exciting way. They want to be a part of any kind of task forces. They want to be a part of anything that helps further our environmental causes. They want to possibly do sponsorships. Possibly, they do want for sure to be in events and in any sort of capacity that we can come up with in any creative way. They're very excited to work with us. And they are inviting us all out when it allows. They want to do like a presentation for us, and they said that we can all drive cars, which we could do anyway, but they're like, come out and drive all the cars. And they're excited for us to partner with them. So I'm hoping that this could be a fruitful possibility for us, for both of us. It would be a great partnership to have. So that was, yeah. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not an official commissioner, but where are they located?
They're on 61.
Okay, so Tesla is open up. Wow.
Yeah, and they are electric cars, so they were interested in helping figure out anything from. They want to be a voice for helping with us for policy, for showing up to city council meetings, to looking for charging stations and frequency of where that would be helpful, doing some sort of educational point to that, which I was immediately thought of the Nature Center to help with that. I know. That's why I'm like, come on. But they're hysterical, really funny group of guys that I've met so far. And the advisor is going to pass along all of this information and the opportunity to work with us to their higher ups out of state. And so they're really excited. They are they hadn't known about the Green Step Cities thing, and they were just ecstatic, and they're like, how can we help you go to the next level? How can we help you? And I'm just like, oh, come to our meetings, please. And I said, does anybody live in Maplewood? Because we do have an opening. So I hope that they become as involved as like our 3M partners did, because they seem like they were looking for a way to be a part of our community. So I think it's going to be fruitful. I hope. So that was all I had to say. I'm hoping that they start coming to some things. Otherwise, I will send Sean any information they send me, and so she can send it out to everybody. And if they're going to do a presentation, if they know how to do it on this whole Zoom thing, maybe they'll do it this way too. But that I was kind of pushing, hoping to have some sort of answers for you by today, because I was like, so would you want to do sponsorships for like the nature center? And he's like, well, I can't make that decision, but I will pass this along to people who can. I'm like, okay. So anyway, I just throwing that out there. It's a partnership I'm excited about. And they said that they looked at our city values and visions, and they said that they aligned really well with theirs. And in fact, some of the same wording is the same. Yeah, they said, when can we get you out here for a field trip? So anyway, that's all I got.
Cool.
Yeah. So, I suppose I am the chair, huh? Okay, is there anybody else? Sorry, I'm all excited now. The kids
Madam
are
Chair,
out of the house.
that's a great lead. And again, I will also forward that on to our city manager, for consideration, particularly in this task force and looking at partnerships and so forth. So thank you for
Beautiful.
following up on that.
Great, and I did give them your name, Sean, as well. And mine, just because I wanted to give them multiple points of contact. So, look forward to it. All right. Well, if there's anything else, I could use a motion.
Madam Chair, we do not have
Yes.
any staff presentations, so I think you are ready for an adjournment.
Woo! Can somebody tell me what time it is?
8:27.
Woo! Okay, I need a motion now. Thank you, Ann.
8:29, I guess.
Motion.
I'll move to adjourn at 8:30.
All right.
I'll second.
All right. Commissioner Redmond made a motion to adjourn at 8:30, and Commissioner Paulzer, oh my gosh, I can't talk, seconded it. And here, look I got it.
Nice.
And I'm
Do it.
we are adjourned. All those in favor say aye. Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I think we're good.